portion of Fox 43 AM Live is sponsored by Endeavor Private Wealth.
Well, Chris McGee, managing partner in Endeavor Private Wealth, is joining us for our latest segment on investing. Chris, good morning. Welcome back.
Good morning.
Okay, Chris, I want to start out. Perhaps the largest debt people have is the mortgage on their residence. So fortunately, mortgage rates are currently down from their 52-week highs, which is good news for potential buyers. And even more fortunately, many homeowners, especially senior citizens, may have paid down or paid off their mortgages and now have significant equity in their homes. And I understand there's something known as a reverse mortgage that may allow them to access the equity in their home. So I want to ask, what is a reverse mortgage exactly?
A reverse mortgage is a loan that allows eligible homeowners who are at least 62 years old to borrow money against the equity in their home and receive the proceeds in a lump sum, fixed monthly payment, or a line of credit, or a combination of the latter two, depending on whether the mortgage interest rate is fixed or adjustable. In a reverse mortgage, the homeowner doesn't make loan payments during their lifetime. Instead, the loan becomes due when the borrower dies, permanently moves out, or sells their home.
So what happens in those events?
Like a regular mortgage, the home serves as collateral for the reverse mortgage. If the homeowner moves out or dies and the loan is not repaid by the homeowner or their heirs, the lender will sell the property to recoup the mortgagee's principal and interest. Any sales proceeds beyond what the lender is owed would go to the homeowner or their estate.
And if the homeowner sells the property, they're obligated to pay off the principal and interest. However, reverse mortgage member loan may be recourse, right?
Yeah, so they're actually they're non-recourse loans, meaning that if the property drops in value or if the borrower lives longer than expected, the borrower or the borrower's estate wouldn't be responsible for paying the lender the difference if the mortgage insurance is provided through Federal Housing Administration approved lenders.
So homeowners with reverse mortgages can live in their home as long as they want?
Yes, provided they continue making timely payments for ongoing property expenses such as property taxes, insurance, and homeowner association fees.
And like any financial strategy, I'm sure there are pros and cons to consider. Can you give us some examples of each?
Yes, a reverse mortgage may enable homeowners who own their house outright or have roughly 50% equity to stay in their home while they age, receiving tax-free income that may supplement Social Security or be used to cover medical expenses, pay for in-home care, or make home improvements. However, reverse mortgages have plenty of drawbacks, including high fees and costs that can be financed instead of paid out of pocket, but that will reduce the net loan amount to the borrower. There could also be complications involving others who live in their home if they're not co-borrowers or eligible non-borrower spouses. And homeowners need to be on guard against high-pressure private reverse mortgage brokers and non-bank lenders who may try to scam or prey upon older homeowners in a variety of ways.
And Chris, any final thoughts on the subject?
The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development requires all prospective reverse mortgage borrowers to complete a HUD-approved counseling session to discuss the advantages and disadvantages of reverse mortgages, in addition to, or I believe, anyone considering a reverse mortgage should consult with their trusted financial professional and legal counsel to help determine if it makes sense given their unique situation.
Well, Chris, as always, we always appreciate your insights. And to learn more, everybody, visit EndeavorPW.com.
The preceding portion of Fox 43 AM Live was sponsored by Endeavor Private Wealth.